What taxes do I have to worry about in probate? We get into that coming up. Welcome back to the channel featuring the leading probate real estate team in the greater Sacramento area. I'm Brendan Mohr, realtor and certified probate and trust specialist by the California Association of Realtors.
And I'm Bill Heyman. I'm a licensed California professional fiduciary, as well as I'm a licensed California real estate broker. And last but not least, I'm also a registered and bonded California legal document assistant, specializing in uncontested probate.
Now please like this video, subscribe to our channel. Want a no-cost probate service? Every day we help people save thousands of dollars and eliminate headaches with our one-of-a-kind probate administration service and real estate listing combo. If it's in California and real estate needs to be sold, you may qualify. So reach out. Our information is on the channel. We love your calls, texts, emails, and comments. But let's get into it. It's what taxes do I have to worry about in probate? So Bill, you're a probate professional who's done thousands and thousands of probates. I think you've said recently 3,500. You've worked in probate for over 40 years. Now I'm pretty well versed on property taxes, but please go into what taxes does someone have to worry about in probate?
Sure, absolutely. Well, there's essentially basically four types of taxes that people need to worry about if you're the personal representative of the estate that you got to worry about during probate, or at least think about. The big one that people talk about a lot but don't really understand that well is what's called the estate tax. Sometimes it's called an inheritance tax. And this is money that heirs or beneficiaries might receive that might be taxable before they, it's taxable before they get it, their share. But the nice thing about the current state of the estate tax itself is that you really have to have a pretty high value estate for it to kick in. Right now, the estate has to be worth more than $13,610,000 as of 2024. So if you've got an estate that's worth less than that, you don't even have to worry about estate taxes. Now, there can be federal estate taxes and state estate taxes. Right now, California doesn't have any estate tax in force. I know that's hard to believe for California, but it is the truth. And as I said, the federal right now is at $13,610,000. So for most estates, it's not a concern. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the second type of tax that you need to worry about is the estate income tax return. An estate is actually a tax-paying entity, just like a person. And it's essentially born when the probate starts, and it dies when the probate ends. But while that estate is alive, it gets issued a taxpayer ID number, which in a way, it's kind of like a social security number for a person. So while that estate is alive during that period, if it has income of $600 or more during a 1-year period, then the estate has to pay income taxes on that. It's done on a Form 1041. But again, most of the estates typical that are out there and that I deal with, because banks pay such outrageously small amounts of interest, even if you've got a few $100,000 sitting in an estate account for 6 months, 8 months, the interest just doesn't add up, and you don't have to worry about filing an estate income tax return. But that is something that the personal representative needs to take a look at, just be aware of. The third type of tax that comes up, and we've discussed this in other videos, is supplemental property taxes. And those are basically the county tax assessor will reassess the property as of the date of death versus when you sell it. And obviously, oftentimes it's sold for quite a bit more than what it was worth on the date of death. And the tax assessor will send supplemental property tax bills out to cover that. Sometimes it can be a lot, sometimes it can be a little. It can be a lot if you've procrastinated in getting the estate started, getting the probate started. So it's another reason we talk about quite often.
We do. We do. We've seen cases where people waited years and years and years to probate an estate, and they get a property tax bill in the 5 figures, upper 5 figures even, and possibly even more. So don't procrastinate.
No, you don't want to on those supplemental property taxes can eat up the equity in an estate pretty quick if you wait too long. So,
and those particular cases that I mentioned were ones where it's over 10 years or longer, but still you don't want to wait.
Yeah, exactly. So if it's just a year or two between the time of passing and the time the probate home gets sold, $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 in supplemental property taxes is not too bad. But yeah, as you said, if you wait 10 years, it can really add up. So. And lastly, the type of taxes that you need to worry about, or at least take a look at, are when you sell a probate home, there could be some capital gains taxes to pay. The difference from the date of death value to versus when you sold it. If there's a gain there, then the estate has to pay taxes on it. Again, that's another reason why don't procrastinate on probate. If the desire is to sell the probate home, you want to do it as soon as possible after someone passes away, because that's going to make your capital gains taxes probably zero if you do it that way. So just to recap, taxes to worry about: estate taxes, federal and possibly state, not California, but maybe another state. Usually, that $13,610,000, most estates aren't going to be over that, so you don't have to worry about that. Next, you've got to think about the estate income tax return, which concerns income the estate might have from the date it's born to the date it closes. Supplemental property taxes, you have to worry about that. And lastly, capital gains. You got to worry about those 4 types of taxes. If you're a personal representative of an estate, you always want to just be aware of that.
Oh, that's great information, Bill. I think that if someone hires the right professional, they're really going to have better advisement on all this, or at least better direction and somebody to answer these types of questions.
Yeah.
So really, there's a great video that I would like everyone to watch next. It's called "How Much Does Probate Cost in Sacramento County?" It really covers the cost of probate throughout the entire state of California, but it gets into the different types of services you can hire, how much they cost, and maybe helps you make that decision. It'll appear right in front of my face. It's maybe linked next.